said, let me have it. There's more. The guy's been communicating with the kids and everybody else you know. I'm in the passenger seat while she's driving. I literally just put my head in my hands and looked up and said, my life is over. That's what I said.
Wow. So that is from our friend Matt. And we recorded that actually a year ago. And he was in the closet for 35 years, basically cruising gay bars, parks, like the things that you always hear about that you've never met a person like this. And I met him here in Dallas and we decided to interview him with Coffee with Gays. He was outed. Just an incredible story. It was very painful. So episode 1 is about his outing. And then episode 2 is kind of after he was outed and his life afterwards. It's really a story of redemption. And we thought it would be really good for Pride, but we couldn't launch it last year for so many reasons. So this year we're launching it for Pride. And I just wanted to open with that clip because I think we forget that we've come so far. And there were so many people that have been in the closet and just didn't really have the ability to come out and be free. So that's why I wanted to introduce today's episode of Coffee with Gays. Before it was safe, looking back on the lives that made Pride possible. So welcome to Coffee with Gays. I'm Blaine.
And I'm Reed. Didn't want to interrupt you, but wow. The kids, that blows my mind. I mean, so just to tell the audience, I was not a part of that episode. I was not recorded with that episode. I have not seen that episode or watched that episode, but I had no idea that this guy that he was seeing or dating, or he thought he was seeing, went so far as to contact his children. Oh my goodness.
It's actually not dating. It was just a random person on a business trip.
Was this pre facial recognition or security on your iPhone? I don't understand.
People can get your passcode, So, yeah, it's that kind of story. Yeah, he was on a business trip here in Dallas. So it was very, very shocking what happened. Obviously, you don't have your phone. You can't contact your family, but somebody else was. Exactly. Extorted money. I mean, it was a whole thing. So a lot can happen in 12 hours without your phone. And that's the story.
Okay, so the guy stole his phone.
Yeah, stole his phone. He had to make it back to his hotel, make it back to his home in New Jersey, all without a phone.
Was he drugged? Was he did he get roofied?
We don't know, but we assume maybe, potentially. He was very.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. I bet that'll make all of y'all think twice about Grindr just think twice.
He was just out at the bar. He was just out at the bar. He met some random person, and that's what happened. So his world really did unravel. And it was painful what happened. But I love part 2 because, like I said, it's really a redemption story and kind of his life after all of that and his perspective after. So there's some really good parts of it.
Well, I'm looking forward to listening. I do appreciate that clip of Matt's episode because I had no idea. I mean, I know you guys recorded it a year ago, but thank you for showing me a little clip of that because I honest to God had no idea. So,
yeah, it's really amazing. So part 1 drops June 12th and then part 2 drops the next week on June 19th.
Okay. All for Pride.
Yeah.
All right. I get it. Now, just to say, I'm not really a Pride person, to put that out there, but I will support Blaine in this journey.
Look, I'm not a Pride person either, and it's really become about Pride capitalism, and I'm so freaking over it. But we need to bring our Pride back and just kind of remember what it's all about. Mm-hmm. Don't you think?
Yeah, I support your cause.
Well, look, I mean, again, I really think Pride was about the people that came before us and the reason we're allowed to be gay and free in this great country that we live in today. And that's kind of what I think it should be about and celebrated. So that's what today's episode is about. Again, I was kind of inspired by this documentary, and we'll get into it in a little bit. But I really wanted to kind of first talk about Coffee with Gays. We're kind of relaunching the podcast. It's June 5th, and we are bringing it back. Just you and me today.
Just us two. Yes, me and Blaine. Ryan will be back, though. Ryan, you're missed. I'm staring at your empty
He's been a little busy, massage school and a whole bunch of other things, but
trips, massage school, the AIDS life cycle. Ryan, I hope you're doing well on the bike ride.
Very last AIDS life cycle ever. So we're rooting for him.
Yes.
Very excited for him. But we have a whole new format. As you can see, I'm here at a desk, which I'm really excited. Reed will have a desk probably next time as well. I'm excited about that. We have a whole lineup. Exactly. We have a whole lineup of guests. Really excited. We both just had readings with Valentina, like Dallas's most like famous psychic to the rich and famous. And both of our readings were like 4 hours. So we'll be really interested to see how our interview with her goes, because she's really excited to do it. I mean, we talked a lot about like things like, I don't know, the birth chart of America and like how it like aligns with like things like, just like where we are in, I don't know, the politics of today and how it aligned with the French Revolution. She's a fascinating person. I'm really excited for that one.
Did I mention that I brought up Baba Vanga to Valentina and what the predictions are? Because did you hear how people were, we can get into this, but how people were stopping their trips to Japan? They were canceling their trips to Japan for the month of July because of what Baba Vanga had predicted.
No. Who's Baba Vanga? Is it that weird alien person?
She's not an alien person. She was an old lady who made predictions, and her predictions were accurate. She predicted all the way up through the end of the world in 5,000.
Well, maybe I should go to Japan instead of Spain next week.
No, July. July is when the tsunami is like some sort of major event. But when you were talking about the world and,
essentially you're predicting this now. So if it happens, we'll do a podcast on it and we'll bring this clip back.
I mean, sure. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So we'll have her on. We'll have a few other people, and
You'll put your phone on silent?
Yeah, I'm going to put my phone on silent. We also have a full new look, new art, everything. You can go check out our link tree, and a whole new perspective. We want to just really bring back something cool and fun. Like, again, we're not a safe space. That's the idea, right?
We're not a safe space?
No, I feel like a lot of these gay podcasts are all like these like safe space, talking about pronouns and stuff like that. We want to just talk about real topics. That's the whole point of Coffee with Gays, right?
Well, I mean, we are millennials, so we are a different generation, technically, than these other gays that are out there. I mean, I'll be 40 this year, Blaine.
Oh, no, not 40. I've been 40 for a year. Actually, yeah, now I'm 41.
Mm-hmm.
How has 40 been for you so far?
I don't turn 40 till August 1st, and I'm holding on to 39, baby. I'm holding on to 39. But we are a different generation than those, and I don't think our views or opinions should be disregarded, or I don't think we need to be forced to change our views and beliefs. We made it to 40 or 39 pretty well.
Well, I had these little cards printed off that we can give out to people, little Coffee with Gays cards. And then I said, this podcast might piss you off. Good. I don't know. I thought it was a good tagline to kind of like, relaunch the pod. So we will see.
Our intention is not to piss you off, but if we get a reaction, by all means, I mean, get pissed off, whatever.
Look, we're trying to bring brunch-table energy to this thing, where we get arguments and fight. You never make it to brunch, so you wouldn't actually know how this works, but that's
probably why I don't know what brunch table energy is.
You don't. It's true. It would be nice if you actually made it someday.
I'll try to carve out some time in my schedule.
It would be really nice if you did. Really, really nice. So I got really inspired by this documentary I found. Like, obviously, like kind of like what I wanted to talk about today was kind of like old celebrities that were gay. And so I started researching it, right? And I was like, okay, like we know about some of these old celebrities. And I was like, what is like a documentary or something that you and I could watch and then talk about? And then I stumbled on this documentary, Scotty Bowers and the Secret History of Hollywood. And it was just so fascinating because it really encapsulated pretty much like every single one of the old celebrities that was like in the closet. So like Cary Grant, Hudson, Katharine Hepburn. And it was just fascinating to me. So this guy basically was like the hustler of Hollywood. And he was like in World War II, in a whole bunch of different wars. And after he got out of the Marines, he was like at a gas station. And then he was one day just filling up a guy's tank, and the guy asked him to go, swimming at the pool. And then one thing led to the another, and then he hooks up with him, and all of a sudden he's like a hustler, one call after the other, and then he's just like, the whole gas station has like 30 Marines there, and he's like fulfilling all these guys' fantasies in Hollywood. Absolutely fascinating. I mean, what did you think about it? Let's just kick it off.
Did he work it? Okay, so, or just to say, listeners, Blaine did ask that I watch this documentary as well, which it was an interesting documentary. Come to find out, Netflix and Ryan Murphy actually made a spin-off show about it called Secret Life of Hollywood. Is that what it was called?
I think so, yeah.
The spin-off show, yeah. I found it interesting. Did he own the gas station? I know it was...
No, he just was working there. He was poor, remember? He didn't end up being poor in the end, but he was...
And he had his military, stipend.
Yeah. But he didn't own the gas station. He just went there and help wanted, just was like pumping gas.
Just taking pump and dumps, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and then he started pumping and dumping.
Oh, God. That was a bad joke. Well, yeah, I found it informative. It's both a kind of a sweet and cute in certain clips of the docuseries, and then it gets like, just when you think you're like, oh wow, look at that cute Cary Grant and Randolph picture, then it flips to a bunch of naked dudes in the 40s walking down a boardwalk. I mean,
that's what I think really opened my eyes, is we really don't understand how people really lived in the shadows back then. And I think what was so cool about the documentaries is almost this super glamorous moment of old Hollywood, but then also it was not glamorous and also very dark to me and sad. Cary Grant and his boyfriend, just they had to live this really dark, sad life where they were in love and they lived together, but here they are literally married, and they have to hide it and live together while married. That's so bizarre to me, right?
While married to women.
Yeah, married to women.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, but from the docuseries, they had a home together. They had their own house. They had two houses together. I mean, as in the closet as they were living their lives. I don't know. I thought long and hard about that, and I'm like, yes, it was difficult, and there were struggles to be had for sure, for the gay community, but maybe Cary Grant and Randolph actually had it pretty well. I mean, Cary Grant married 5 different women, or divorced 5 different women.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I mean,
yeah, he was on and off that one for sure.
Yeah, man could pull him.
I think the interesting thing for me is there was this real big discussion around did Scotty betray these people? Because he waited. This documentary takes place at his 90th birthday, at Chateau Marmont.
Which was what year? I meant to ask that. What year?
2017. He's dead now. He died in 2019. But it takes place at his 90th birthday, and he waited to write his book until everybody that he kind of outed was
deceased.
Dead. Yeah. And so there was this huge controversy about did he really out them? And they had family, some of them, and was this a terrible thing? So, one of the clips, I went ahead and pulled was this interaction at, his book signing with someone. Was this a really bad thing that he did? The moral aspect of it. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this.
All those people, yeah. Don't you think that you misled their trust by writing a tell-all book?
A lot of people at the time knew who these people were and what they were. So it's not a secret, really. It may be a secret to some square that lives in Illinois, but people who lived in Hollywood, they knew these people.
I do love how we use term square.
I mean, like they had a grandkid. The grandkid remembers, oh, no, my grandfather was gay or whatever like that.
What's wrong with being gay? So, but thanks anyhow.
Okay, that's just
Okay. No, I can see it. Thank you. I did the book just to show some of these people that people are still people. That some of these squares think, oh my God, you're weird, you're different, unique. Like ladies have said to me, just what are you? I said, I'm everything.
I'm everything. He is everything, I'll tell you that. I'm obsessed with Scotty Bowers. This guy is like something else.
I want to Google what the term square meant back then. Well, I mean, I know.
Well, I think it means the same thing it does today, right? Like, just like, I don't know, someone who's boring.
Judgy douche.
Definitely a judgy. It would be a Karen, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I guess, yeah.
That's definitely what a square is.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would struggle with that too. I think, the interesting thing that I really took from this is that he had such an interesting view on sex. Like, he didn't judge anybody for being gay or any of this, like it didn't think of him any differently, even back then. And like he said, like, everybody knew.
Yeah. I mean, everyone, I
feel like you're judging. You definitely have a judgmental thing. Go.
Just don't call me Karen. He's got a point. Like the guy that said, hey, what about the families of the deceased that were in the closet? He's got a point. He does. I don't know them personally, and I'm sure they're not hurting financially, but whatever. I don't think it's ruining the deceased's reputation.
I mean, but let's be honest. They already, like, all these people knew before this book.
Yeah, I mean, my mom told me about Rock Hudson, for example, and I had no idea who the hell he was. I was like, okay, Mom.
Oh, yeah, before we get into Rock, he was so hot. My God. Speaking of hot, let's talk about my favorite in this whole thing. Actually, that's really who I kind of started researching was Cary Grant and Randolph Scott. I mean, the couple of the time. I mean, these two were just freaking gorgeous. I mean, if I was like a little young gay boy back in the 40s, I would have been watching these movies like nonstop.
Going to have a book on everything here. Randolph Scott, Cary Grant. What was so funny is they live right behind the Chateau Marmont there. And they lived at the beach, too. They lived right at Santa Monica Beach. Oh, and they lived together. Of course, people say they're roommates. Okay, we're roommates. I mean,
beautiful, aren't they?
We're lovers are roommates, too.
Well, I feel it's about time for a dip.
Hey, man, is that Johnny Weissmuller?
No, I wish it were.
Back in those days, people knew they were lovers and together. Then all of a sudden, as years go by, they come, how dare you talk that way? But I'm not.
He was very.
He's great guys, both of them.
Look at this doing those rings.
This movie was, that movie was clearly way ahead of its time.
And both of them, we call it three-way, and I've also brought another buddy for them to where we're four of us, to and through.
I love like the title of that article was The Bachelors at Home.
Before he became an actor, a known actor. Cary Grant was living with Ori Kelly in New York, who was a mad queen. Ori Kelly was a dress designer. Actually, he got 3 Oscars for dress designing.
Some like it hot.
Ori Kelly was not cute.
And he came out here and lived here for a year and a half together.
Don't be judgy.
And he got Randolph Scott and left Ori, dropped him like a hot potato.
I'm sorry, but Randolph Scott.
Because he wanted to steer clear for fear they might think he's gay if he's with someone who's known to be gay.
So I feel whenever I'm around you, Blaine. Just kidding.
I mean, Wait, what?
He said he was afraid to be around Ori Kelly because he didn't want to be perceived as gay. So that's never
Oh
mind.
my God.
Bad
Are you
joke.
calling me Ori Kelly?
I'm on a public podcast with you. Do you think I'm that embarrassed to be around you?
Are you calling me a flaming queen? That's so rude.
Glass slipper fits Cinderella.
Wow. I guess I should wear my glass slippers next time. But to your point, Cary Grant was married 5 times during this period. Okay. And then Scott was married twice. I had to get these down. Okay. And like during the same time, during these like basically 4-year periods, they owned a home called Bachelor Hall and a beach mansion. And they lived together while they were both married to these women.
I mean, again, I go back to that movie clip that they show in the documentary or whatever. That movie was obviously was portraying Cary Grant to be getting turned on by Randolph. Is he not? It's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That movie had to have been way ahead of its time if that's the case. Like,
I mean, people just like ignored it. And then, you know, what is rumored to be happened is the studios actually worked overtime to like conceal anything about it. They shut down rumors. And then there's a story that a photographer actually captured an intimate moment between the two of them. And then the studios actually had the negatives destroyed to protect their image.
and they went out and took more pictures. Is that what happened?
No. What do you mean? No, they destroyed the evidence and they didn't get anything else. I mean, this isn't like TMZ back in the day. Like, it's hard to get photos. It's not like,
Right.
you know.
But it looks like they took more with the cute pictures that were on the documentary.
No, but like clearly an intimate moment meant like a kiss or something even more. Like, not just like them just canoodling. I mean, canoodling is, I guess, bad enough, but like, you know, we can infer that, but
Watch
you know, that's just canoodling.
Canoodling.
You know, you can kind of explain away canoodling, but
No, I can't. But
you know what canoodling is?
I actually don't, but I really want to Google it right now.
Do you canoodle?
I don't know what that means.
I love canoodling. Canoodling is like what they were doing at the horse races, where they're just like kind of cuddling together, you know?
Okay, like cozying up to each other. Is that what?
Yeah,
canoodling
cozying
is?
up to each other. Exactly. That's canoodling.
Let's see. What does canoodling mean while you're moving on?
Well, let's talk about your mom's favorite gay from the 50s. Well, I guess, yeah, the 40s, I guess, and 50s, which would be Rock Hudson, who, by the way, I mean, Hottie McCall. I mean, can I just tell you, this is very true. When looking at people during this day and age, they were beautiful. Like, there's something to be said about people like pre-50s that just were like naturally gorgeous. Like, I just am like so shocked by it.
I mean, you're referring to a time when most were in the military or in the Navy, so they were all clean shaven, clean cut, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they just had like naturally beautiful bodies. And so I do think there is something behind our food. It has to be that too.
What are you saying about my body, Blaine?
I think everybody says that you're like super hot, and it's so great that you're on the pod because you're the new cute one. And that's why we have you in Adam's seat with the bulge. So
I had no
he's
idea
single,
what's in there.
everyone.
Eternally single. Go ahead.
He's single and for sale.
Very expensive. Cheap, but expensive.
Let's talk Rock Hudson.
You know, in Hollywood, everyone knew that Rock Hudson was gay.
Rock Hudson, selected as the most popular film actor of the year. This is the second year in a row that Mr. Hudson has been taken by Modern Screen as most popular actor.
But his sexuality came really up when Life magazine had done a cover story on him. It said that he was approaching 30 years old, and it was about time for him to get married, and if he didn't get married, he needed to tell his fans why. And like a month or two later, he married his agent's secretary, Phyllis Gates.
Phyllis is such a
Scott was gay, Phyllis was gay, and nothing happened.
it became kind of an open joke
Phyllis.
in Hollywood. Everyone kind of knew that this was an arranged marriage.
But it was very important to sell that myth. It was about reflecting back a very traditional middle class, middle America viewpoint. The truth of that was something very, very different.
He kind of has a James Dean look to him, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, he really does. Isn't Phyllis like such a lesbian name? I'm not surprised she's a lesbian.
We shouldn't be judging the name Phyllis.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to any Phyllises out there. But, I just say things like this.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that they arranged a marriage with a lesbian.
What do you mean? That's extremely efficient if you think about it.
I mean, it is really efficient. I just find that just fascinating that they actually found a lesbian. By the way, I have a very really interesting little tidbit, piece of trivia. Do you know Rock Hudson's original name?
I'm waiting for you to tell me.
He would have never been famous with it. Roy Ferrer. Can you imagine if his name was Roy?
I mean, you know my first name, right?
By the way, why am I going on a whole name tangent? Sorry to all the Roys out there.
I know, Blaine LeBron. Like, come on.
I think it's a good name. My mom is very proud of Blaine, I just have to say. But you can say things like blame it on Blaine. I'm launching my new series, Blaine Bitches. It rhymes with things. But Roy, that wouldn't work. Rock, that's good. Rock.
You have now changed it again to Blaine's Bitches or Blaine Bitches?
Blaine Bitches. That's what we're going with. Yeah.
So bluntly Blaine wasn't a thing?
No, just
blame Blaine.
No, Blaine Bitches. I've always wanted to do Blaine Bitches, so we're going to do that. What's yours going to be called, by the way? We're taking a little detour, but...
Well, you named it for me. It's called Read Between the Lines because I constantly text and send videos while I'm driving.
You don't text. You actually just send audio messages and video messages.
I do. I like sending video and audio messages. It gives a little, intimate. I don't know. It's intimate. It's private. It's unique.
I do love it. So we're going to share that with our viewers. Read Between the Lines will be available to you soon. We'll be launching that on at Coffee with Gays Pod on TikTok and all of our other social channels, which we are live on.
Yes.
The sad thing about Rock is, he died of AIDS in 1985. So he was actually outed for real because he obviously died during the AIDS epidemic. So really super sad.
I thought that was hearsay.
It
Not
was
public. I'm sorry. I thought it wasn't publicly known that he passed away of AIDS. Like they were keeping it hush hush.
They were keeping it hush hush, but it was finally confirmed. Did some due diligence on it. So it finally they confirmed it. That at first they kind of denied it, but then they finally confirmed it.
Is this next one about Katharine Hepburn?
It's my favorite one. Yes.
Is this where she's like, George?
Yeah. So this is the thing that absolutely killed me. I did not know that Katharine Hepburn was a lesbian, first of all. Did you?
I mean, if you want to know my level of ignorance, I kind of just assumed that nobody before 1970 was gay.
Well, you also previously kept referring to her as Audrey Hepburn, which is not the same person.
Yeah, I did. To my defense, they have the same last name, man.
It is true. It is true. So I did not know that Katharine Hepburn was a lesbian, but a long time lesbian and just absolutely crazy. I love her, but this story is just fascinating.
What can you say about, if anything, about Katharine Hepburn?
Katharine Hepburn would have liked you. Katharine Hepburn was not really nice to Spencer Tracy.
Because?
Huh?
Do you have any idea why that was? Because he was married or what?
No, it were merely friends, and they were in business together, show business.
Spencer
And
Tracy.
they were not in a bed apartment together at all.
Never?
Never.
Wow.
I think lesbians like gay men too much, or men for that matter. But
And that's why it's a
True,
story.
right?
People say, "Oh, I
That's a
thought
good
they
point.
were lovers." I said, "Well, they weren't, but it sounds good."
A lesbian and a
The
gay
spread
man
of
marrying.
Hepburn
Wow.
and Tracy is one of the best
Was
examples of Hollywood
Rock Hudson.
presenting a public image. George Cukor directed some of the greatest Hepburn Tracy films. Spencer Tracy lived on the grounds at George Cukor's house, but he was still married to his wife, who he loved very much. And there's always been the presumption that he and Hepburn lived together in that little cottage. In fact, they did not live together. There was another cottage where Hepburn lived. Hepburn in later years tried to make it seem as if they were living in a cottage together, sharing a household like man and wife.
Remember that night when, I don't know, you felt so disturbed and I said, well, go on in, go to bed. I'll talk you to sleep. I'll just talk and you'll be so bored you're bound to drift off.
It was not that way. They were not living together. They never lived together.
She was the designer of her own legend, and she had several fervid relationships with talented other women. She was very guarded about what she did.
George kind of told Katharine Hepburn early in the game what I did, in a way. Then I could see running through her head, well, if he fixes up guys, he should be able to fix up girls too with girls. You know what I mean? I could see that. I fixed her up with every bit of 150 girls. And people says, how was she? This is over a period of 100 years, 50 years. I mean, that's not unusual at all.
The traditional image is that Tracy bullied Hepburn. This was not true.
Oh, what are you doing?
Testing.
She wouldn't have tolerated that kind of behavior from anyone. I began to understand that if, in fact, there were conflicts between Hepburn and Tracy, they went both ways. And she was not happy about his drinking or his friendship with Scotty. Scotty would come down to Cukor's house, specifically to see Spencer Tracy.
I get arrived there at 5 o'clock in the evening. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm still sitting at the kitchen table listening to him talk and going, I better go to bed now. And he'd get up and almost fall, and he'd put his arm around me. We would go to bed. But then the next morning, he would always say, geez, I must have gotten drunk last night. You were so nice to stay. Just like nothing ever happened. It was always the same. He really didn't want to be gay or admit to himself he might possibly be.
Quite the hustler.
And so the best way is not to admit it, right?
He never admitted there, though, that they slept together.
I can't handle it in my head. It rocks me.
The ironic thing is that it was somehow more acceptable to the general public to be in an adulterous relationship than it was to be gay or lesbian.
Same today.
But the whole thing about being gay in Hollywood, if you played along, you were okay. The studio executives did not really care if someone was gay or not. They only cared about your public persona.
Okay, now I want you to dig into that.
Okay, so, I will say, I do think that monogamy is kind of in question today for a lot of people. I also believe that a lot of people think that monogamy is stupid, doesn't exist, which I think is wrong for those of you that think that monogamy is stupid to judge us monogamous people. I don't judge anybody that wants a polygamous or open relationship, so I shouldn't be judged for wanting a monogamous relationship. However, that whole situation just seems like swinging, polygamy, openness, non-monogamy, non-judgmental. But how do you feel, Blaine?
I just don't think that people are judged for monogamy.
I definitely feel judged for wanting to be monogamous.
In the gay world, you do?
Heck yeah. 100%.
I don't know. I feel like it's celebrated.
It's also very difficult to find a date that wants to be monogamous too.
Now, I will say that. I will agree with you on that one for sure.
I've probably found more couples. I've probably matched with more couples than I have on Tinder. Unknowingly, they were a couple.
Well, that actually does make sense to me. I do understand that. Especially in the gay world.
Yeah.
But, you know, I will say, I do watch those To Catch a Cheater a lot on TikTok, and it's pretty prevalent in the straight world as well. So,
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree.
so maybe you are right. Yeah, I was just shocked. 150 women over 50 years. I mean, I guess that's not that much.
Compared to your number, no, Blaine, it's not less.
Oh, and I'm sorry, we've got your number that's supposedly 20, but we know that's a big old lie.
Yeah, it's probably way less if I'm being honest. That would be, 20 people here. I just, no.
The other person I was just fascinated with in this documentary was George Cukor, which he just mentioned in this whole Katharine Hepburn segment. He was the producer.
So that's a compound that he owned, right? It had 3 separate houses, it looked like.
Yeah, and so Katharine and Spencer Tracy lived in the guest houses on the compound, and then George would have like all these like crazy like parties every single weekend with all these like hot dudes, which is just like, I mean, it just seems like so amazing. Like these were like the days, and this is the clip that you were like mentioning like earlier, where like Katharine was like, "Don't out us."
This Hollywood friend, Scotty. You and I traveled the same highways and low light than the alleyways. That's right. You know, I worked for George Cukor for 2 years. And Katharine Hepburn lived down in the guest house. I usually come up, George, I hope you're not up there spilling the beans about us, telling the truth. We've been in a closet for 40 years, and don't you? And finally we had to cancel book. And George hated it. George had to give back $75,000 advance. That nearly killed him.
George Cukor has been the center of more controversies than any other director in the history of Hollywood. He's not only directed a string of highly successful pictures like Little Women, Philadelphia Story, and Adam's Rib, but he's also been fired from quite a few, including Gone with the Wind.
I met George in 1947. George came in the gas station in his new and black Dodge sedan, introduced himself, and invited me up to the house. Within a few days, I was up here.
He almost came on like Walter Pigeon. It's a hot day. I'd love to have you come up, take a dip in my pool and cool off and things like that.
George Cukor has never married, but lives alone in a palatial home in Beverly Hills, a house which has 7 living rooms and only 1 bedroom.
George Cukor was really one of the arbiters of Hollywood society. He was someone who had the greatest parties. He knew everyone.
On Saturday nights, they were like the great, elegant soirees with the kings and queens of Hollywood. Vivian Leigh, Laurence Olivier, the Garbo. Sunday afternoons around the pool was brunch with 10, 12, 15.
See, everybody was just beautiful
in Hollywood.
Well, he's not
Scotty
that cute.
Bowers would always provide new talent.
Should have been the
George
talent
Cukor
read.
was the epicenter for gay Hollywood in the 30s, 40s.
I've been the what?
If George gave his seal of approval to someone, the rest of the community looked on with favor. George respected Scotty. He wasn't simply this madam Cukor called for events. He was also a friend of George Cukor's. And Scotty became friends with many of Cukor's friends.
I mean, this is the kind of like that fabulous like Hollywood thing. Time period for me that I think would have been beautiful. The beautiful side of this time. Going to a Cukor party.
Sorry, as they were talking about it, I Googled images of Cukor's house because I'm very interested in real estate. And I'm really curious to see a 1-bedroom, 7 living room house. There's nothing really extravagant about it, it seems today. It almost looks buried in the mountain. But yeah, Cukor's an interesting guy.
Yeah, he died with like $2.8 million, I guess. Modest, but I think he just spent lavishly. But I think at the time, I mean, he died in 83, so that's pretty a lot. But he had like fabulous parties like all the time. Obviously, Katharine Hepburn was one of his top people, but he lived up in Benedict Canyon.
Yeah. Cooker's house is the house that they lived at.
Yeah, they lived in,
Okay.
well, they lived in guest homes on the property. Yeah.
Right. But the main house that Cooker lived in was the 1-bedroom, 7 living room house, as opposed to the other 2. So, I mean, it does make sense now if you think about it logically. If he has 2 other houses on the property that have multiple bedrooms, what's the point of having any more than one in his house? Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Why would you have people stay with you? If you
Right.
don't need
He just
to?
wants to host parties and then have them send them over to their guest house. Yeah. Interesting fellow.
Yeah. He was fascinating. You know, I think the really interesting part of this documentary is it wasn't just the glamour and everything of Hollywood. It was also just really like a scary time for gays. And I think what really hit home for me about it is I see a lot on TikTok and social media about people saying, oh, it's so dangerous to be an American and everything. When really, I think this is like the best time we've ever been able to be gay and probably one of the safest countries. And there was just some stuff that I didn't even know that is just really kind of terrifying about like what gays had to go through in like the 40s and 50s and really up until the 70s. So this was a pretty powerful clip, I thought.
Remember, at that time, many people who were gay had jobs that they would lose jobs if they were exposed in any way. After World War II, the Vice Squad was red hot in this town and picking up guys for nothing.
It wasn't fun sitting in a gay bar on Melrose in 1962, waiting for the police to raid. They'd go in there and it's like, we have a quota of 8 for tonight. And you know, to be beaten up in public parks or have an effeminate friend viciously attack going down the street.
It's probably hard for people who were born in the last 20, 30, perhaps even 40 years to fully grasp how difficult it was. Not only was it hard for them to find someone to fall in love, but if they tried, they could go to jail. They could go to an institution where they might be castrated or lobotomized. This was a terrible, terrible time.
Lobotomized? God.
Crush the monster. Crush homosexuality.
Homosexuality is, in fact, a mental illness, which has reached epidemiological proportions.
When we hear about these stories of people being arrested in the parks, and we think, well, they must have been such degenerates to be down there having sex in public. But in some cases, you know, they were simply there to meet someone like themselves. Scotty was able to allow these people to have lives that were honest and authentic, which is really what they were seeking.
I think what Scotty did was kind of an introduction service. People wanted something, Scotty would get it for them.
So I think that really just kind of like sums it up, you know, like he was a connector and really helped them find what they were like searching for, you know, in a private way during a really dangerous time. You know, kind of like what?
No, I just think our audience would be so pleased. Now that I'm thinking about it, this guy graciously set up the elite white celebrities of the 50s.
Well, true.
Gay, white.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, that clip obviously was a bunch of guys that, you know, weren't elites, that were getting arrested, castrated, and lobotomized, right?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
It was, and that happened, by the way, I checked all the way up until the 70s. You have to think the Stonewall riots, and this is when Pride started, was 1969. So that's kind of when the revolution started. These bar raids were happening all the way up until into the 70s. So, you know, it was really dangerous to be gay. You could be arrested all the time. So, you know, and then obviously, like, even with our friend Matt, like all the way into the 80s, 90s, you know, early 2000s, like people were in the closet for a reason. Like you could lose your job. There's obviously movies like Philadelphia where you could be fired, and you can still be fired in a lot of cases. I mean, we don't have workplace protections, but at the same time, you know, even in my lifetime, I've just seen so much progress. But, you know, we still have kids, and like you said, we're millennials that are posting, you know, crap all the time. about it being dangerous to be gay in America. So I just got a few clips. I'm going to skip some because we're kind of running short on time. There's plenty of them. Not that Kathy Griffin is gay, but she seems to try to speak for us, and it really pisses me off. So I'm going to start with her.
Gays, you may not be safe. So to be gay in America, much less trans, because they're obsessed with trans people, to be LGBT in America is not going to be a safe thing anymore.
This was right after the election,
So,
of course.
To be a woman in America will be even less safe than it already is. So take care of each other, have plans, make sure you know how to gather support if you're afraid to walk down the street.
Walk down the street. Come on.
Right, magnets on the outside of my.
Okay, this one really.
Someone with, I'm allergic to it. It's painful. It hurts. It's.
Okay, the one I'm going to skip to
It's a better
is the one that just really has been getting on my nerves lately, and I just think it really sums up this what I've seen a lot of, and it just really bugs me more than anything.
I'm ashamed to be an American, 'cause God knows I'm not free. And I won't forgive the men who lied and took my rights from me.
Just
and
angry listening to it.
I'll stand up against your throne and curse her to this day. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I used to love this land. But goddamn, fuck the
That's a ballsy.
Let me tell you something about this girl. She identifies as I'm shaking. I'm so upset about it. She identifies as a non-binary, femme-presenting lesbian. She has 500,000 followers, and she claims to not be free in this country. She's posting about all the pride collections out there. Look, she is free. She is privileged. She is monetized. Can I tell you, the celebrities we talked about today would have loved to have her platform and would have loved to talk about the things that she talks about. And they had to live in the shadows. And by the way, what makes me so angry about that video that she posted is she's saying GDF the USA, and yet millions died for their right to live and post videos like that. However, also, how many gay military people also died that were like in the shadows as well? And yet she's basically spitting on their sacrifice. It's really disgusting to me.
Well, individuals like that, I don't know, anyone with half a brain would realize that that's just a stupid thing to post. I mean,
you know what it is? It's clout chasing. It's not like reality.
Right.
That makes it even more disgusting. So you're saying GDF the USA, and you're trying to chase clout, and you're spitting on the millions of Americans who died for your freedom to be a non-binary, femme-presenting lesbian with 500,000 followers on TikTok. You know what? GDF you.
Rewind to the 60s, and basically she's one of those individuals burning flags in the middle of in front of the Capitol. Like, that's exactly.
It's gross.
What an
it's
idiot.
Gross.
Except the irony in today, all of these social media platforms, people don't realize that you're reaching so many more individuals by being on social media and posting these things. You guys do realize that, right? Like, it's not like back in the day where a picture pops up, and if you're watching the news or if you happen to search it on the internet, you come across it. This is reaching people in real time, like tenfold.
Yeah. I mean, luckily the comments were really negative against her on it, but it just was really offensive to me. And I think it was offensive to hopefully every American, but it's not like she just still doesn't have 500,000 followers. Sorry, they have 500,000 followers.
Well, it's not like people don't enjoy going on YouTube and watching car accidents happen, like how many. So I get it. Just because she has 500,000 followers doesn't mean all those followers believe or agree with her point.
Yeah. Look, I don't believe in cancel culture, but like for stuff like that, I just think
she's canceled.
It's grotesque to me. It's just grotesque. I truly love this country. It's given us a lot. And I think as gay people, we've, like I said, in the 20 years I've been out, I have seen us get so many rights, so much acceptance. Like I said, I in a previous episode, I can go to my grandfather's church in East Texas and have more acceptance than I had 20 years ago.
Right. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Coming from a Catholic upbringing. Now listen, guys, I'm not a pride person. However, I will never be ashamed about being an openly gay man. I will never be ashamed about the partner I have whenever I have one.
Thanks for clarifying.
Just to say, but I'm not a pride person, but I am happy to support the cause, and I believe in what Blaine believes in most of the time.
We can agree to disagree sometimes.
Yes.
So yeah, we've officially relaunched. I just wanted to kind of make a few announcements. We are now on TikTok at Coffee with Gays Pod, because I think our other one is shadow banned, but I'm going to be posting on both. YouTube, we're going to just keep posting on Coffee with Gays. All of our new episodes will drop on Thursdays starting June 5th with this episode. And like I said, it'll mostly be just me and Reed because we're super committed. Ryan's still around. But like I said, we have some super spicy guests coming up. And right now we have a series that I'm working on and pushing out ahead of the launch of this, which is I effed up the launch of my podcast, Coffee with Gays. It's been actually really fun to record. And all the lessons learned during this. And I still have more, by the way. I'm sure this episode will not be perfect. It already isn't.
I've been meaning to tell you, I think this should be like a streaming thing, because things are going to get fucked up on every episode.
By the way, for sure, it's already at 25 parts, and I'm probably going to add 5 more just from this episode.
Blaine is a perfectionist, y'all, and sometimes he takes on a little too much on his own. But you got to give him credit; he's a hard worker.
You know what? I am having fun with it. And like I said, I started this project, and I think the biggest issue, like we've talked about, has just been consistency. And this is the first time I've been inspired and dedicated to being consistent, literally not going out and just focused on making content. And it's a lot of work. But thank you, by the way, for being here every day during Memorial Day and all this stuff. It's been really fun to kind of reignite this. I've been really having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's not like I have any plans or boyfriend or...
Neither do I. So might as well do something fun. Also launching a side series, Blaine Bitches, which I'm super excited about. My first target is my hairstylist, who commented on my slight weight gain. Anyway, more on that. He's actually going to be one of our guests too, because we want to do a whole segment on therapy.
Is he giving free haircuts? Because, I mean, if you're going to be a guest, I might...
He never does anything for free, honey. He's already trying to upsell me on highlights this summer.
I mean, I like my barber, but if he's going to come on the show and market himself and advertise, I think I should get a fade.
Wait, I was waiting for a little quip on therapy.
What's therapy?
See, that's what I was waiting for.
See, I my brain doesn't register things like therapy.
Girl, therapy, it's like when you go get your hair done and you get therapy at the same time.
Don't you know that I do ChatGPT therapy?
That is a part of your series. You want to announce it again? It's a read between the lines. Because, by the way, it is I'm sure you're weaving between the lines when you do all of your...
I don't think I was in between the lines. I think I was way over the line. But yeah, it's called Read Between the Lines, and Blaine has created it for me specifically.
I think it's a cute name. It's a cute name.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right.
It's cute like you.
Well, we're also going to be doing one that's Where's Ryan? Kind of like Where's Waldo, but Where's Ryan?
Because we never know where he is. I have to look up his location all the time.
I got to look up his location too. I think he's at the walk or the bike ride right now, right?
Yeah. So now he's in San Francisco, but he was in Florida last week. I mean, we don't know. He was at the Gulf of America last week, actually. Sent a picture from the Gulf of America.
Oh, he went to Pensacola, right?
Yes.
Right, yeah. Was that Pride or something? Or
no. I don't actually know what it was. Just, being with boys.
There were a lot of boys there, that's for sure.
So don't forget our 2-part episode with Matt coming out. The first one will be his outing. His traumatic outing, and then the second part will be kind of like that redemption post outing, like what he learned and all of his insights. So if you made it this far, you're officially one of us. This podcast isn't trying to be polished or pretty. That's fucking for sure.
Speak for yourself.
But I had fun with it. So if you made it this far, hit subscribe. It would mean the world to us. Also, please comment and tell us what you want to see, hear, have us talk about, who you want us to talk to.
Yes, absolutely. Blaine is going to put a contact email or something
It's
right here.
tell@coffeewithgays.com.
Right. Any requests that you have, whether it's for Read Between the Lines, for the podcast itself. God, ask us questions, y'all. If we offend you in any way, let us know. If we do something funny, by all means.
You know what I love more than anything? I love a hate comment. I will take you on all day long. I mean, if you want to just go at it, just let me go for it.
Yeah.
I don't do filtered comments, by the way. No way.
I don't need hate comments. However, I'm definitely willing to accept some sarcasm. Make fun of me all you want. I'm all for it.
Yes, I'm not afraid of critical comments. How about that? We'll call it critical.
Yeah. Criticism.
Yeah, critical comments are fine. Yeah, anytime. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much, Reed, for coming, and thanks everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. And this is the end of Before It Was Safe, looking back on the lines that made Pride possible. And we really want to thank all of the people that made Pride possible, and not just the rich white gays of Hollywood, but really all those people that suffered, because I really think back on it, and there's just so many people that, lived in the shadows. We had the AIDS epidemic. Really, the history of the gay community is about strength and resilience. So happy start to Pride. I know you aren't a huge fan, but cheers to that.
Cheers.
Oh, this is my big mug. I'll do my small Coffee with Gays mug. So cheers to that, and cheers to the launch of Coffee with Gays. And we'll see you next week with our Matt episode.
Yes. See you next week, y'all.